There's a place where mercy reigns and never dies.
There's a place where streams of grace flow deep and wide,
Where all the love I've ever found
comes like a flood, comes flowing down. At the cross,
I surrender my life. I'm in all of you. I'm in all of you. Where your love ran red and my sin washed white, I all to you. I all to you, Jesus. There's a place where sin and shame are powerless. Amen.
where my heart has peace with God and forgiveness,
Where all the love I've ever found
comes like a flood, comes flowing down. At the cross,
I surrender my life. I'm in all of you. I'm in all of you. Where your love ran red and my sin washed white, I owe all to you. I owe all to you. Here my hope is found. Here on holy ground. Here I bow down. Here I bow down.
here with open arms, here you save my life. Here I bow down, here I bow.
At the cross, I surrender my life. I'm in all of you. I'm in all of you. Where your love ran red and my sins washed white, I owe all to you.
welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining the broadcast. What's this, like 3 nights this week so far? Oh yeah, Latoya Jones is in the house. How you doing? Haven't seen you in about a minute. Mary Ellen Bonner says, wow. And Angel Love says, blessings. And who do we got? We got Diane's in the house. We got a bunch of other streams going on. Alright. Diane, JR's in the house. We got a couple people here. Thanks so much for joining. Melanie's over on YouNow tonight. That's a different place for her to be, but that's alright. So yeah. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody is well, and yeah. So who am I? I am well. How are you? Hey, I am here. Hey, Jenny, thanks so much for joining in the broadcast. I'm okay. I am okay. I really can't complain right now. So yeah. So let's see. Who am I? I am Jason Wallace. I'm a believer and follower of Jesus Christ. I'm a prayer warrior, an intercessor, a Bible reader. I'm a devoted husband and father. I am a child of God. I am a new creation in Christ. I am a citizen of heaven. I am a member of Christ's body. And I am a friend of Christ. And I am righteous and holy. So, walking in that and keeping that is the truth. And so, I'm also a very proud member of the Jesus Did It family. Cato Bill's in the house. What's going on? Whoa! See there? How do you like that? I hit the wrong button. My bad. Oh, it's been a day. It's been a day for sure. Here we go. Here we go. Check out the Jesus Did It website at jesusdidit.org. Right there is the affirmations, the download. What's up? What's up? The download. Right there. So download that thing, print it out, put it with your Bible, put it up on the wall, put it somewhere where you read it every single day. And then check out the official Jesus Did It broadcasters right there in the middle. And then if you want to catch the rest of my socials, right down there at linktr.ee. Nice to see you too, brother. tr.ee/Jason R. Wallace 7 will get you all the rest of the socials. And well, that was interesting. Alright, so we have a bunch of different broadcasts going out tonight. We're broadcasting on YouTube, YouNow, Live.me, DLive.tv, Periscope, Facebook, Twitch, Smashcast, FC2, Peaks, Mixer, Loots, Instajib, Vaughn Live, Africa TV, OK.ru, and Kitty Live. That's a lot. Katie Seeper's in the house. Look out. Katie's in the house. Alright, thanks for joining in the broadcast. And yeah, it's nice to see you too, Bill. And yeah, so check out the website. If you want to join us on the Facebook group, it's right down there. Facebook.com/Jesus Did It TV. Yep. Alright, well, we're going to get into our singing for tonight. We're going to worship. Guys, we're going to get together and worship. And you know the story. I sing on the Smule app. And if you want to sing a song with me, reach out to me. So let me know. If you're on the app, go ahead and find me at Jason Wallace 35, I think is the name. Yep, Jason Wallace 35. And you can seek me and you can send messages in the app and then let me know what song you want to sing. And you know, just like Sev, I've sung songs with Sev, I've sung songs with a couple other people, and it's nice. It's nice to bless you too. To be able to sing along with other people, it's really, really cool. So tonight's song is well, we could go with either one or two, right? We can either do Even If or Different. Maybe we'll do both. You might do that. We might do that with Smeal. Yeah, do it up. We'll sing a song with you. Absolutely. So here's tonight's song is Even If. Come on, sing along with me.
They say sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. Yeah, right now I'm losing bad.
I've stood on this stage night after night, reminding the broken it'll be alright. Right now, oh right now I just can't.
It's easy to sing when there's nothing to bring me down.
But what will I say when I'm held to the flame like I am right now?
I know you're able and I know you can save through the fire with your mighty hand. Even if you don't, my hope is you alone.
They say it only takes a little faith to move a mountain. Well, good thing a little faith is all I have right now.
But God, when you choose to leave mountains unmovable, oh, give me the strength to be able to sing. It is well with my soul.
I know you're able and I know you can save through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. I know the sorrow and I know the hurt will all go away if you just say the word. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone.
You've been faithful, you've been good all my days.
Jesus, I will cling to you, come what may.
'Cause I know you're able.
I know you can. I know you're able, and I know you can save through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. I know the sorrow, and I know the hurt would all go away if you just say the word. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. My hope is in you alone. It is well with my soul.
It is well, it is well with my soul.
That's a really good song, you know? Even if. Just even if. And thank you so much, Snelly, for your compliment on Twitch. Thank you so much for being here. We're on a multi-stream here tonight, so and let's see. We did that one last night. Lead me to the cross. Let's do that one.
Happy Worship Wednesday. Thank you for joining me. Let's worship together. Amen. Savior, I come, I quiet my soul. Remember redemption's hill, where your blood was spilled for my ransom. Everything I once held dear, I count it all as lost. Lead me to the cross where your love poured out. Bring me to my knees, Lord, I lay me down. Rid me of myself, I belong to you. Lead me to the cross. Oh,
You were as I, tempted and tried. You ran. The Word became flesh, bore my sin and death. Now you're risen. Everything I once held dear, I count it all as lost. Lead me to the cross where your love poured out. Bring me to my knees, Lord, I lay me down. Rid me of myself, I belong to you. Lead me.
lead me to the cross where your love poured out. Bring me to my knees and lay me down. Rid me of myself, I belong to you. Lead me to your heart.
To your heart.
Lead me to your heart.
To your heart.
To your heart. Amen. God bless you. Thank you for joining.
Bless you, Kelsey.
Praying for you during this time of loss. May God bless you.
Amen.
There's a peace I've come to know. Though my heart and flesh may fail, there's an anchor for my soul. I can say it is well. Jesus has overcome, and the grave is overwhelmed. The victory is won. He is risen from the dead, and I will rise
bless you, Brother Samuel, in this time of your sorrow.
Oh, Jesus. Amen. God bless you.
Love you, brother.
God bless you during this time.
Be strong, Brother Sam.
So that's the singing group that I'm with. There's a bunch of the people that are in the singing group. We all sing group songs together, and that one was for our friend Samuel, who lost his father not too recently, and so we sung a song for him because that's what singing people do, right? So on the Smule app, we're in a group called SGE, which stands for the Smule Gospel Experience, and it's a great group of Christians who just get together and sing songs and praise and glory, and just share life and prayer group, and it's all done through the Line app, and it's pretty good stuff. And yeah, right, isn't that love? And then we, as the guys, we sang a song for our friend as well, and I believe it was this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this one. I'll Fly Away. Let's listen to that one. I feel a little worshipy tonight. Sorry, guys. Hey, Roland, thanks so much for being here. Hey, Amy, how you doing tonight? Welcome. Come on, guys. Let's worship. Let's sing along. I mean, why not? He deserves all of it.
Smule Gospel Experience brothers singing I'll Fly Away for Brother Samuel in the passing of his father.
Some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. When the shadows of this life have gone, I'll fly away. Like a bird from prison bars I'll flown, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Oh, how glad and happy when we meet. I'll fly away. No more cold iron shackles on my feet. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away. joy shall never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
You know, listening to that one really makes me want to go back and play that blues one. Really, really does want me to do that one. So we'll do one more song and then we'll get into our word and stuff. But like I said, I feel a little worshipy tonight, so hey, why not? You know. And let's see, I think it's Alt F. Nope, it's not Alt F, it's Control F. There we go. And we're looking for blues. I'm not down on the list far enough. How far away was it? That was quite some time ago, I guess. That was really. Oh, there it is, right there. Let's do some Amazing Grace. Blues edition. There you go, guys. Last one, then we'll get into the word.
Trying to find some grace here. I'm going to do Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that sings a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart, oh my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieve. How precious did that grace, oh that grace that did appear. my hope secure. He will my shield and portion be. Wait, what did he just say? He will my shield and portion be. As long as my life endures. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound, saved the wretch like me. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. I was lost, but now I'm found. Thank God I'm found. Amen.
I was blind.
I was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace. Oh yeah, come on. How sweet, sweet, sweet the sound. Saved a wretch like me. I can't believe. I always thank you, Jesus, every day. Oh Lord, every day. 'Cause without you, I would be one hot mess. Thank you, Jesus. Come on.
On to the ribbon.
Amazing grace, how sweet, sweet, sweet the sound. Just remember, He died for you and me.
Brump. There we go. Alright, so let's get our other two platforms here online with us. Alright. Hopefully I won't disconnect stuff here too much. Maybe. Where's the cable? Uh-oh. There it is. Don't unplug. Don't unplug. No problem. This reminds me of Hugh Laurie album called Let Them Talk. I'm not sure what that is, but I can check it out. Sounds interesting. Alright, what do we got today? We got plus 30 XP and plus 3. So let's go live on Kitty Live. Kitty Live. Today's word is when we praise. When we praise. Oh yeah, there we go. Sorry, location services, you are in outer space today. That's how we roll. And we're gonna bring them guys on with a nice 3, 2, 1. Freeze. There we go. Alright, those guys are on. Let's bring live.me on, and then we can get rocking and rolling into our next part of this broadcast. So today's word is when we praise. Alright. Go live. 3, 2, 1. Alright, 3, 2, 1. There we go. He's not Christian, but his songs sound Christian. Yeah, I mean, there's people that do that. They have songs that sound close, right? And then we got some Christian stuff that's crossing over too. Lately, a bunch of different artists and crossing over and stuff, which is not a bad thing. Brings people that don't know about God, brings them a little bit closer to music, to wondering who God is and singing about Him, So, all right. So, today's word is Bible reading. Where are you, Bible? Why aren't you showing? There it is. There we go. What's going on, Waylon, Dave? Thanks so much for the hearts, whoever that is over there on Kitty Live. Thanks so much for joining. We'll do a little reset. Who am I? I'm Jason Wallace. I'm a believer and follower of Jesus Christ. I'm a prayer warrior, an intercessor, a Bible reader, a devoted husband and father, and I am a child of God. I'm a new creation in Christ. I'm a citizen of heaven. I am a member of Christ's body. And I remember Jesus Did It family. I remember we're broadcasting tonight on YouTube, live.me, dlive.tv, Periscope, Facebook, Twitch, Smashcast, FC2, Peaks, Mixer, Lutz, Instajib, Vaughn Live, Africa TV, OK.ru, and Kitty Live. So a whole bunch of broadcasts all at one time. This is how we roll. And this is what we're doing. We're spreading the word of God organically across very many different platforms, and I enjoy doing it. So very thankful. Okay, so today's Psalm 109 is tonight's word, and Psalm 109. It's a fairly sizable one. Hopefully we'll be able to get through it, and not cram through it, but get through it where we can understand it a little bit too. So let's do that. What's going on? Who else is in here that likes Eminem? I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of Eminem, but hey, be how it is. Psalm 109. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. Do not keep silent, O God of my praise. For the mouth of the wicked and the mouth of the deceitful have opened against me. Sorry about that. What was a short list? What is the short list of what you're not broadcasting on here? Right? Eminem the Candy. I like Eminem the Candy, yeah. Alright, let's start back up. Reset. Alright. For the mouth of the wicked and the mouth of the deceitful have opened against me. They have spoken against me with a lying tongue. They have also surrounded me with words of hatred and fought against me without a cause. In return for my love, they are my accusers, but I give myself to prayer. Thus, they have rewarded me evil for good and hatred for my love. Alright, I just lost my place. There we go. Set a wicked man over him, and let the accuser stand at his right hand. When he is judged, let him be found guilty, and let his prayer become sin. Let his days be few, and let another take his office. Let his children be fatherless, and his wife a sorrow. Let his children continually be vagabonds, and beg, and let them seek their bread, also from their desolate places. Let the creditor seize all that he has, and let the strangers plunder his labor. Let there be none to extend mercy to him, nor let there be any to favor his fatherless children. Let his posterity be cut off, and in the generation following, let their name be blotted out. Let the iniquity of his fathers be redeemed before the Lord, and not let the sin of his mother be blotted out. Let him be continually before the Lord, that he may cut off the memory of them on earth. Because he did not remember to show mercy, but persecuted the poor and the needy man, that he might even slay the broken in heart. As he loved cursing, so let it come to him, as he did not belong to the blessing, so let it be far from him. As he clothed himself with a cursing as his garment, so let it enter his body like water, and like oil into his bones. Let it be to him like the garment which covers him, and for a belt with which he girds himself continually. Let this be the Lord's reward to my accusers, and to those who speak evil against my person. But you, O God, Lord, deal with me with your name's sake, because your mercy is good. Deliver me, for I am poor and needy, and my heart is wounded within me. I am gone like a shadow when it lengthens. I am shaken off like a locust. My knees are weak through fasting, and my flesh is feeble from a lack of fatness. I also have become a reproach to them. When they look at me, they will shake their heads. Help me, O Lord, my God. Oh, save me according to your mercy, that they may know that this is your hand, that you, the Lord, have done it. Let them curse, but you bless. When they arise, let them be ashamed, but let your servant rejoice. Let my accusers be clothed with shame, and let them cover themselves with their own disgrace and mantle. I will greatly praise the Lord with my mouth. Yes, I will praise him among the multitude. For he shall stand at the right hand of the poor, to save him from those who condemn him. And that is Edwin's in the house. Who am I? Greg Roots in the house. Thanks so much for joining. What is love to you? That's a good question. Love is God. That is what love is to me. Alright, so that was from the New King James Version. We're reading from the Blue Letter Bible app or website on the interwebs. So check it out if you're interested. There's some cool features to that website. Alright. Take a drink. We'll get into the next bit. Alright, guys. So we read from the Our Daily Bread, Our Daily Bread is a free publication. You might be able to get it at your church. It's a free book. Check it out. Check it out. If you're interested, you can go to the website at odb.org and get your own copy. They'll send you a physical copy, or they've got an app, or they've got a download, or it's right on the website. You pick and choose whatever flavor you want to do it, but we need to get into this word because there's some good stuff. Are you ready? So for Friday, October 18th, the title is When We Praise. This is written by Remy Odadelli. When 9-year-old Willie was abducted from his front yard in 2014, he sang his favorite gospel song, Every Praise, over and over again. During the 3-hour ordeal, Willie ignored the kidnappers' repeated orders to keep silent as they drove around. Eventually, the kidnapper let Willie out of the car, unharmed. Later, Willie described the encounter, saying that while he felt his fear give way, for his fear to give way to faith, the abductor seemed agitated by the song. Willie's response to his dire situation is reminiscent of the experience shared by Paul and Silas. After being flogged and thrown into jail, they reached by praying and singing hymns to God, and the other parishioners were listening to them. Suddenly, there was such a violent earthquake that the doors flew open and everybody's chains came loose. Upon witnessing this awesome demonstration of God, the jailer believed in God of Paul and Silas. So he believes in the God of Paul and Silas. And his entire household was baptized along with him. Through the avenue of praise, both physical and spiritual chains were broken that night. They may not always experience the visibly dramatic rescue like Paul and Silas, or like Willie. But we know that God responds to the praises of his people. When he moves, chains fall apart. Boom. So the question for today is, what lessons do you learn from your spiritual section, or your spiritual session held by Paul and Silas? So what lessons do you learn from the prayer session held by Paul and Silas? How can you apply these principles to the difficult circumstances in your life? In prayer, I guess it says, God, you are holy, enthroned in the praises of Israel. Amen. Today's reading is from Acts chapter 16 verses 20 through 34, and the key verse for today is Acts chapter 16 verse 26. At once all the prison doors flew open and everyone's chains came loose. Boom, boom, boom. Could you imagine? Could you just imagine? That's crazy. Alright, y'all, I'm getting tired already. Woo! Edwin's in the house. Who am I? Alright. Praise reports. Prayer requests. Sorry, thirsty. Yeah. Who am I? There's no prayer requests. That's okay. We will definitely move along. Let me see what we got over here. Not that it matters. But we have 721 viewers. That's all good. I'm still on. I've only been on for 54 minutes. 54 minutes, that's it. It's getting close to shutting down. I want to try to keep it right around an hour. But, yeah. So no prayer requests, no praise reports, that's okay. Listen, we will pray for sure. Alright, so this one's going to be a tough subject this month. But this month we are speaking about suicide in our broadcast, our monthly broadcast on the @JesusDidIt TV accounts on Facebook and Periscope. So make sure you catch it. It's Saturday, October 26th at 6:30. And yeah, we'll be able to catch that broadcast. This will be a good one. It's going to be a good one. Thanks for joining, Marvin. Thanks for joining. Hey, Kyle, thanks for being here. Kyle Lund, thanks for being here. Alright, so guys, if you don't have any prayer requests or praise reports, we can move it along and get this thing shutting down. Pray for your mom. She's just out of the hospital. Doctors still trying to diagnose. Absolutely. Lord Heavenly Father, we lift up Sue's mom tonight, Lord. You know what's going on with her, Lord. We just ask that you give the doctors wisdom to know what is going on with her, Lord. Lord, we just ask for continued healing and continued health, Lord, and continue to bring peace into Sue's life as well for any situations that may be going on. Lord, we lift up Sarah tonight, Lord. We lift up Sarah, and we're praying for that dizziness, that ringing in the ear and the throat and the acid reflux. Lord, we just we lift her up tonight, Lord, and we just ask that you bring healing on her. In Jesus' mighty and powerful name we pray. Amen. And amen. Just out of the hospital. Crazy. Alright, guys, Truth is, I'm tired. I actually found that song. I might sing it. I just might sing that song. Oh man, I'm sorry. We had Chinese for dinner, and I've got a little bit of acid reflux tonight. Well, that's the reason for drinking lots of water. Help push that stuff down. But yeah, praying for Sarah, praying for Sue's mom, definitely. Alright, so we covered that, so yep, we covered a lot of stuff. If you need some help with getting your business or your church or your own personal live streaming efforts up and moving, please send me an email and we will talk about that. We'll chat back and forth. So if you're interested in that, please send me an email, jason@jesusdidit.org. Alrighty, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying any more than that. Alright. Okay. I'm pretty much there. So guys, let's pray on out. And then we'll play a song. And JR, we'll do another non Christian song too. So let's do that. Where was our prayer time? Alright, let's pray. Lord Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for what you've done for us here. Lord, we know that it is not easy to take care of us, Lord, that keep and seek us. Lord, we just ask for any healings that might need to be healed. Lord, we ask that it be supernatural healing in Jesus' mighty and powerful name. Lord, we just Lord, we lift up every single person who came into this broadcast, Lord, seeking you. And those that did not hear your name or do not know who you are, Lord, we just ask that they continue to participate and to grow and to become that great example for their family, great example for the people around them. So Lord, I just ask for continued growth in our Christian walk. Lord, I just ask for favor and peace and comfort for us. Lord, we ask this in your mighty and powerful Son's name, we pray. Amen and amen. Seb's in the house. Alright guys, truth is I'm really tired, so let's play a song and let's get on out. Alright, I love you guys, and we'll see you next time. Be blessed. Let's see, I cut it too soon. Let's see what song we're gonna pick. I just did that one. I can only imagine there was someone that sang with me. Oh, cool. Oh, we all get to hear this one. Alright, cool. Night night, guys. Get some rest. Be blessed. Know that Jesus Christ loves you.
I can only imagine what it'll be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. Yeah.
Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus, or in all of you be still?
Will I stand in your presence, or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
I can only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine when all I will do is forever worship you. I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus, or in all of you be still?
Will I stand in your presence until my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine.
Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus, or in all of you be still?
Will I stand in your presence until my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all?
I can only imagine, yeah. I can only imagine.
I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine.
I can only imagine. when all I will do is forever, forever worship you. I can only imagine.
Blessings.
When I walk through deep waters, I know that you will be with me.
When I'm standing in the fire, I will not be overcome.
Through the valley of the shadow, I will not fear. I am not alone.
I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone.
No, I am not alone.
You will go before me. You will never leave me. In the midst of deep sorrow, I see your light is breaking through.
The dark of night will not overtake me. I am pressing into you.
Lord, you fight my every battle, and I will not fear.
I am not alone.
I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone.
No, I am not alone.
You will go before me. You will never leave me. You amaze me,
Redeem me,
you call me as your own.
you amaze me,
Redeem me, you call me as your own. You amaze me,
redeem me,
you call me as your own.
you amaze me,
You redeem me, you call me as your own.
you're my strength, you're my defender.
You're my refuge in the storm.
Through these trials, you've always been faithful.
You bring healing to my soul. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone.
I am not alone.
You will go before me. You will never leave me.
Thank you. Thanks for singing with me.
Thank you, brother.